It only took 3 sentences to change everything, and none of them sounded dramatic at the time. Hey, you there. Step away from the bench. Hands where I can see them. That's how it started. Not with sirens, not with a crime, just a voice cutting through a quiet morning like it had every right to be there. And in that moment, I remember thinking, yeah, here we go again. I was sitting on a park bench feeding ducks, just minding my business. 64 years old, retired nowhere to be nothing to prove. The kind of morning you earn after a lifetime of stress. Cool air leaves barely moving birds doing what birds do. I had a paper bag of grain in my lap and a wool coat that had seen better days, but it was warm, and at my age, comfort matters more than appearances. And apparently appearances mattered a lot to the man stepping out of that patrol car. I didn't turn around right away. That sound, boots on gravel, you never forget it. I knew it too well. I'd heard it from the other side for decades. I took my time, brushed my hands together, turned my head, and there he was. Young officer, tight jaw, hand hovering just a little too close to his weapon. Already annoyed, like my existence had interrupted something important. Is there a problem, officer? I asked. Calm, polite, neutral. The way I'd taught rookies to speak to civilians back when I wore the badge. He didn't answer the question. He just repeated himself louder this time, told me to stand up, told me to show my hands. I did. Slowly. Clearly. I'm feeding the birds, I said. Am I doing something wrong? He said. There were reports of drug activity. I knew that was a lie the moment it left his mouth. There hadn't been a call. I could feel it. You know when an officer is fishing. You know when they've already decided how the story ends. He told me I fit the description. I asked him to describe the crime. He didn't like that. His face flushed, and that's when I realized this wasn't about safety or investigation. This was about control. He wanted compliance, not answers. When I told him I didn't consent to being detained without reasonable suspicion, he stepped closer, close enough that I could smell coffee on his breath. I'm not asking, he said. You're loitering. I almost laughed. Almost. Loitering, sitting on a bench, in a park, feeding ducks. Yeah, that happened. There were people watching now, joggers slowing down, a woman with a dog pulling out her phone. That's when things shifted. I could feel it in him, the eyes on his back, the pressure. He doubled down, pulled out the cuffs, started listing charges that didn't exist until he invented them. Resisting, obstruction, failure to identify, circular logic, arresting me for not letting him arrest me. I'd seen it 100 times before, and I hated it every time. When he grabbed my arms, he did it wrong, on purpose. Yanked them high behind my back, pain compliance, humiliation, wrapped in procedure. The cuffs were too tight. I said nothing. I've learned silence can be louder than shouting. Someone yelled that he was hurting me. Someone else said they were recording. He told them to back up, told them it was an active investigation. And I remember thinking, no, this is a performance. He searched me like he expected to find something bad, something that would justify everything he'd already done in his head. Dumped the bird feed onto the ground like it was contraband. Pulled out my wallet, didn't even open it, just shoved it into his pocket. Will ID you at the station, he said, smug, like he'd won something. The walk to the car was slow and rough, and I cataloged every mistake like muscle memory. Too tight cuffs, no double lock, improper escort, no explanation, no cause. Every second adding weight. The ride to the station was quiet at first, then he started talking, lecturing, telling me about respect, about how people like me think we don't have to follow rules. You know what I mean? That tone, that assumption. I stared out the window and memorized details. Badge number, cruiser number, time. Because that's what you do when you know the truth is on your side. You prepare. When we walked into booking, everything stopped. The desk sergeant looked up, and I saw recognition hit him like a wave. He froze, took off his glasses, whispered my title like it was a question. The officer laughed it off, called me a nobody, and that's when the room snapped. Get those cuffs off him. Now. Silence. My portrait was still on the wall behind the desk. Same eyes, same face, older now, tired maybe, but unmistakable. The keys shook in his hands when he unlocked me. He didn't look at me. Couldn't. The chief came down, panic in his eyes, asking what happened. I told him simply. One of your officers decided the Fourth Amendment was optional today. He opened my wallet, saw the ID, shook his head. That moment right there, that's the twist nobody talks about. Because the injustice didn't change when my identity was revealed, only the response did. Internal affairs moved fast. Videos surfaced. The bystander footage went viral before the ink was dry on the reports. Millions watched an old man get manhandled for feeding ducks. When they found out who I was, the story exploded. The officer was fired, decertified, career gone. I sued the city. They settled. I donated every dollar to a legal defense fund because it was never about the money. It was about the pattern. Months later, I went back to that park. Same bench, same coat, same ducks, and nothing felt the same. Because I kept thinking about all the people who don't get recognition halfway through booking. The ones whose names don't hang on walls. The ones who don't know the law well enough to say the right words or who say them and get punished anyway. That's the part that sticks with you. So here's what I want to know. Was losing his job enough? Or should there have been criminal charges? And how many times does this have to happen before we stop pretending it's rare? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you've seen. Tell me what you've lived. Let's talk about it.